And their fine names to North Arena this evening. On behalf of the administration here in the athletic department, we look forward to this junior varsity matchup here this evening. Just a reminder that the Huntington County Community School Corporation is a completely tobacco-free environment. We appreciate your cooperation in advance. Restrooms are located in the northeast and northwest corners of the arena, as well as adjacent to the concession stand in the main lobby. And now, here are the starting lineups for this junior varsity tilt here this evening. First of all, for head coach Ben Smith and the Canterbury Cavaliers. At one guard, a 5'11" freshman, number 2, Aaron Van. Also at guard, 5'9" freshman, number 5, Vasco Lobeck. At one forward for the Cavaliers, 6'2" sophomore, number 13, Reed Hayes. Also at forward, a 6'1" sophomore, number 22, Brenton Turner. And rounding out the Cavaliers starting lineup, 6'1" sophomore forward, number 32, Darren Van Mullingham. And now, ladies and gentlemen, here's the starting lineup for Jacob Collins, Huntington North Vikings. At one guard, 5'10" sophomore, number 3, Isaac Brown. Also in the backcourt, 5'9" sophomore, number 5, Tony Decker. Also starting this evening for the Vikes, 5'8" sophomore, guard number 20, Brody Slater. At one wing, 5'11" sophomore, number 21, Sam Double. And rounding out Coach Collins' lineup this evening, 5'8" junior, number 23, Blake Stewart. Our thanks to the Luther Real Estate Group for being our game night sponsor. We've got 2 talented officials assigned to this contest this evening, James Wagner and Brett Van Dyne. Gentlemen, let's play ball. Number 42, Dalton Husband reports into the Viking lineup. And number 3, Christian Urberg, into the Cavaliers lineup. Wes Hotchkiss reports in for the Vikings. Basket good by Roscoe. cheerleader. It'll be Cavaliers ball out of bounds at midcourt to start the second quarter. Got a Vikings personal foul, number 23. Blake Stewart. It'll be Cavaliers ball at midcourt. Sharon that long gap into the Cavaliers lineup. It'll be Viking ball on the baseline. We've got a timeout on the floor. This is a Cavaliers 30-second timeout. I'd like to introduce to you our junior varsity cheerleaders. Emma Alford, Alan Cutting, Maggie Hall, Katie Masterfield, Lily Coleman, Patience Runyon, Gwen Schreiber, Ellie Shea, Lola Smith, Sharon Chatiki, and under the leadership of their coach, Heather Wilson. It will be Cavaliers ball out of bounds on the end line following the timeout. We've got a late personal foul, number 3, Isaac Brown. It'll be Cavaliers ball out of bounds on the baseline. Basket's hit by Brody Slater. A reminder that restrooms are located in the northeast and northwest corners of the arena, as well as adjacent to the concession stand in the main lobby. We want to let you know some of the things that are coming up later this week. The boys basketball team will be back in action Saturday when they travel to Belmont High School. The Lady Vikings return to Bob Street Court this Friday when they host Belmont. The Lady Vikings will also be at home on Saturday evening when they host Indianapolis Cathedral. The girls and boys swim teams are home on Thursday versus Fort Wayne Canterbury. The wrestling team will compete in the Northeast State Conference meet on Saturday at New Haven High School, with the preliminary rounds beginning at 9 a.m. Congratulations to the girls and boys swim teams as they both placed third this past Saturday in the Northeast State swim meet. Our thanks again to Hoosier Real Estate Group for being tonight's game night sponsor. We're also thankful to First Federal Savings Bank for their long-standing support of Viking athletics, and for all your banking needs, be sure to check out First Federal. Our thanks to Z Place Pizza for providing the pizzas for all home boys and girls basketball games, as well as sponsoring the hospitality suite for home girls basketball games. You know I love Z Place. Waiting Center, located at Mountain Sign Road near Walmart, has donated a food for the hospitality suite tonight for all home boys basketball games this year. Be sure to check out Waiting Center. And as you look around the arena, you'll see a number of other sponsors who have significantly donated to Viking athletics. We ask you to please patronize these local businesses and say thank you for their support. It'll be Viking ball out of bounds to start the third quarter. It'll be Cavaliers ball on the baseline. Got a push on the play, number 5 for the Vikings, Tony Denver. It'll be Cavaliers ball out of bounds. That's good by Brody Swager. Over and back violation on the Vikings. It'll be Cavaliers ball in the front court. That's good by Reed Hayes. Hugh Gregor. Dalton Huston reports into the Viking lineup. And lost the Wolfman into the Cavaliers lineup. Then will be at the line to complete the three-point play. Wes Hodgson also recorded in for the Vikings. Going to reach in foul on number 12, Colton Driver. For the Cavaliers, it'll be Viking ball on their baseline. Number 22, Brent Turner. Number 33, Greg Rucci into the Cavaliers lineup. Viking ball. Basket's good by Dalton Huston. We got a timeout on the floor. This is a Canterbury Cavaliers 32nd timeout. It'll be Cavaliers ball on the end line. If you have any questions tonight, be sure to seek out Jared Parker, Chief Popsel, or Ben Whitman. They've got all the answers that you might need. Again, our thanks to tonight's Game Night sponsor, none other than Loser Real Estate Group. For all your real estate needs, be sure to check out Loser Real Estate Group. We thank them for their support of Viking athletics. It'll be Viking ball out of bounds to start the fourth quarter. Excuse me, it's Cavaliers ball on bounds to start the fourth quarter. Three-point puck is good by Blake Stewart. Brody Slater, Isaac Drop, and Tony Decker reported to the Viking lineup. We've got a timeout on the floor. Personal foul on number 20, Brody Slater, puts Aaron Van Mollingam in the line, shooting 2. Aaron will be in the line to attempt the second free throw. Number 23, Blake Stewart, reports back into the Vikings lineup. Christian Herbert and Reed Hayes report in for the Cavaliers. It'll be Cavaliers ball in the backcourt. Number 44, Wes Hotchkiss, reports into the Viking lineup, and we've got a timeout on the floor. Let's give it up for our Viking cheerleaders. Puck is good by Blake Stewart. Fouled by Brendan Turner. Blake will be at the line to complete the three-point play. It'll be Cavaliers ball on the baseline. Three-point bucket's good by Aaron on again. We've got a Cavaliers personal foul, number 22, Brendan Turner, Viking ball. Congratulations to the Vikings, victorious in this junior varsity contest. Don't drift too far away, because in just about 20 minutes, we'll have the varsity contest between these two schools.
Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
We've been on the air since 1950, and now we're on the web.
www.hccsc.k12.in.us.
Select Huntington North from the drop-down menu.
And look for Viking Radio.
Or find us on the TuneIn Radio app.
Viking Radio, 91.9 WVSH. It's time for Huntington North Vikings basketball on your Huntington North Sports Authority, Viking Radio, 91.9 WVSH. Before we head to the hardwood, we'd like to thank the following sponsors for making tonight's broadcast possible.
Bailey Love Mortuary, Bippus State Bank, First Federal Savings Bank, Hartburg, Roth, Garrett, Halberstadt, and Garrett Law, Nove, and Z-Place Pizza.
Now let's head to the arena for the fast-paced action of Vikings basketball on your home for Huntington North Sports, Viking Radio, 91.9 WVSH.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Max Robrock alongside Nick Altman here, the radio teacher at Huntington North High School, filling in for some basketball games here. Welcome to Bob Strait Court here in North Arena as the Huntington North Vikings take on the Canterbury. Last outing, Canterbury defeated Lakewood Park 49-43, and Huntington North lost Columbia City 44-34. Although that was a great game with Huntington North, as they're only trailing by 4 coming into the fourth quarter, that is. And then Columbia City made 2 free throws right there, making the lead to 6. And then Huntington North had to get creative, make it into a little bit of foul trouble there as they started with that. And then I can get you to some stats here as I find those right here. We had on the Columbia City Eagles side, we had Stratton Fuller with 7, Andrew Hedrick, the leader of the game, with 15, Aiden Denning with 3, Rhett Wilson with 4, Cam Hogue with 8, couple of huge threes I remember throughout the first and second quarter. And then you had Tyler Crosden with 4, and then Brady Hartman rounded up with 3 himself. Then heading on to the Huntington North Vikings side, we can see that Eric Hostler had 8, Tyler Carr with 2, Zach Nash with 10, almost leading the team with his other friend Levi McElhaney with 10 apiece. And then we had Wes Huff and Asher Pachowski share 2 apiece themselves. Obviously, this game came down to a lot of things, but you could bring it back to one thing. Obviously, there's 9 turnovers compared to 8 turnovers, which is a big difference, but it has been in the Huntington North Vikings play out so far. But then when the Vikings are only shooting 2 for 12 from the beyond the arc, has really got to slow them down, obviously. But then you have the Columbia City Eagles when they're 7 for 23 beyond the arc, which is a very high number. And then especially on the free throws that killed them too, 15 for 20, while the Vikings were only 8 for 10. Although the percentage there is only just 10%, maybe 8% off there. It's just the fact that the Columbia City Eagles had 15 and the Vikings only had 8. Straight up right there. And then you can even look at the points off turnovers, which Columbia City had 10, Huntington North had 4, which those 6 points would have been a very, very big game just to get back down to 4-4. And then you can even look at the second chance points, although Huntington North did capitalize on that opportunity with 6 themselves, holding Columbia City to just a straight 0 there. You can look at the quarter, so we see that Columbia City and Huntington North had 11 themselves. Columbia City in the first quarter, that was. And then the Eagles had 11 in the second. Vikings had 8. Eagles had 10, Vikings had 9. Then the fourth quarter, Eagles had 12, Vikings had 6. So it was a very, very close game coming into the fourth when they were only down by 4 points there. And then obviously taking it to today's game against Canterbury, which is going to be a good game. They have a little bit of height with some 6'5", 6'4" guys, a lot of 6'2" guys. However, when you bring it back down to their starters, it doesn't get too tricky right there. You can tell a big difference in between their starters, as there's going to be David Cohen, Dallas Watson, Ashton Dressler, Will Russell, and Devon Lewis. And right away, when I'm looking at the stats, I can see that. Because you can see minutes per game. Lewis with almost 30. Russell with 25. Dressler with 23. Watson with 20 himself, and then Cohen with 21. Right away, you can see that. And then the nearest one after that is what looks to be Wardlow with only 11 himself. So he's almost 10 behind everyone else on their stars. So you can see their coach loves to play their starters right there.
And that's something that it helps Huntington North when it comes to preparing for them. I mean, you have about 5, maybe 6 guys. They don't go real deep on the bench. As you mentioned, the Cavaliers have some depth, some height as you get down their bench. But really, you look at their starters, they've got 2 6'5" guys that start. But then beyond that, Will Russell is 6'3", and then the 2 guards are just 5'11". So they don't start a huge lineup, even though they have some guys. A good chunk of their roster is 6'2" or taller, so they are going to have some length compared to Huntington North, but they don't go as deep. So taking a look at even Huntington North's numbers, though, they also don't go crazy deep on their minutes. I mean, most of those minutes go to Eric Hostler, Ethan Zahn, Tyler Carr gets in there quite a bit, Zach Nash, Levi McElhaney, and Asher Chipchowski. Those 6 guys seem to get most of the minutes for Huntington North. So every once in a while, Ethan Hubbard will get in there to give a little bit of relief. But for the most part, both of these teams go about 6 players deep, just going 1 off the bench. So we're going to see a lot of the same faces throughout tonight.
Yes, we will. And then, as we said, we're here at Bob Strait Court. And then North Arena, which is very home to a lot of people. A decent crowd tonight, not too many, but definitely not as many as we had against Columbia City as we played them. And then the pit theme tonight is Grout Fit. That's gray outfit, which is always something you love to see, is the pit coming out, the pep band coming out for tonight's game. Love to see that.
And taking a look at the Canterbury Cavaliers, last year, the Huntington North Vikings were able to defeat the Cavaliers 68-37. Leading the way for the Vikings was Zach Hubbard, Will Hotchkiss with 18 points. Zach Hubbard had 13 points. And Cam McCarver also had 15 points in that contest. So those are 3 names of players that all graduated last year. Will Hotchkiss continuing his career at Huntington University just down the road. And Zach Hubbard is just up the road at St. Francis. And Cam McCarver continued his football career up at Trine University up in Angola. But the returning scorers for Huntington North the leading returning scorers were Eric Hostler, who had 6 points, and then Zach Nash had just 2 points toward the end of that contest. So not a lot returning for Huntington North, but there's also not a ton returning for the Cavaliers either. They were led by Luke Schleback, who had 11 points, but he has moved on from Canterbury. Devin Lewis returns this year. He had 6 points last year. Will Russell, another starter for the Cavaliers, had 4 points last year. And Deacon Wardlaw, he had 2 points last year. So not a lot of returning scoring for either team, very much led by seniors last year. So we're going to see how these players step up this season.
Yes, it was. And that has been a very, very difficult aspect that you can say that the Vikings have had to overcome, with very little varsity experience, like you said, with only, I believe it's only 2, maybe 3 that had consistent-ish varsity experience, with not just getting with the last 2 minutes of maybe a blowout or they knew they could not come back. So that's been a very big, and then the Vikings with 14.1 turnovers per game is never a good sign that you love to see. But that has always been Coach Craig Teagle's one of his mottos is less than 10 turnovers per game. And they have been completing that in the last few games. They did last year against Canterbury, and then they did last game against Columbia City. So that's a plus that you'd love to see, is the Vikings just growing in all that they can do.
And they did that against Columbia City last Friday. I believe they only had 9 turnovers in that contest. However, the shooting percentages were pretty low in that contest. Huntington North, for the game, they shot just 30% from inside the arc and 16.7% from outside the arc. So it doesn't matter how good a defense you play, how well you take care of the ball. If you're not hitting shots, it becomes difficult to win, especially against a team like Columbia City. The Vikings were able to hold them to just 35% shooting from the field. And in most cases, most coaches would be happy with that because 9 games out of 10, that's going to end up being a victory.
Yeah, absolutely. But in just that case, Canterbury took over.
So the Huntington North Junior ROTC program is getting ready to present the colors in this contest. So here momentarily, we will go to an interview that you had with Coach Teagle during the JV contest. We're going to hold off on that just momentarily. And actually, as they bring the colors out, we will go to that. Max Robrock with Huntington North head coach Craig Teagle.
I'm Max Robrock here with head coach of the Huntington North Vikings, Coach Craig Teagle. First of all, Coach, tough loss against Columbia City last night, but a great game that your boys played. What can you tell me about that with a 44-34 loss?
Well, going into the fourth down by 4, if you remember, we had 2 free throws and we missed them. We cut it to 2. And we go down the other end and Gam won a play and they hit a little floater that bumped it up to 6, and then it stayed about that way until the end when we had to foul. The kids executed the game plan pretty well because we wanted to go inside because we knew they were small. We thought we could hurt them in the post, but we were 10 of 27 from around the rim, and we just didn't finish it very well. We went where we needed to go. I thought the kids did a good job of executing that part of the game plan. We just got to finish better. But the Hedrick kid for them is just a really good point guard. And once you get down to a team like that, he's going to take control of the game and is able to handle and get the right people the ball and then get to the foul line. But, a good game. They're a really good team. I think they're 9-5 right now. I think undefeated in the conference. So they're one of the better conference teams.
Yeah, absolutely. And then for the game against Canterbury, obviously they have a little bit more of length, 6'5", 6'4", a lot of 6'2" guys. Does that change your strategy for this game at all? No,
you always want to play inside out. We're always trying to get 2/3 of our shots inside the paint, 1/3 of them from threes. And that's the other thing. We were 2 of 12 from 3 last game, so we just got to shoot it better. But we're going to try to do the same thing. Obviously, we try not to attack the post at 6'5" as much as the other guy, and maybe send someone else to the post that may have a size advantage. But we just got to do what we talk about all the time. We got to keep them in front. We can't get split. We can't give up old boards, and then we got to have great ball movement on our end.
Yeah, absolutely. And then what are some keys to a Viking victory?
Taking care of the basketball, keeping them off the boards, keeping 0 in front of us now the paint. He's our lead scorer at about 18 a game. 2, making sure he doesn't get out in transition and drive to the basket. He's at probably about 10 and a half a game. And then number 4 for them shoots the 3 really well. We want to be a little closer to him and not give him any good looks. I think those are kind of the keys for us.
All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And we bring it back as the Huntington North Vikings band just finished up with their national anthem playing. As we get started here, we can see that the Canterbury Cavaliers are going to come out with Devon Lewis, Will Russell, Ashton Dressler, Dallas Watson, and then Davis Cohen. And as we're going to wait to see who the Vikings have picked out for their starters for tonight in this contest.
And as Coach discussed, Devin Lewis comes into this game averaging 18.5 points per game for the Cavaliers, leading the way for them far and away. Also averaging 3.7 rebounds and 2.5 assists and a steal and a half, or 2.5 steals per game. As well, Will Russell comes in averaging 10.2 points per game and 3.3 rebounds. And Dressler, one of the other starters, averages 7 points for the Cavaliers. Taking a look also at the other starters, Watson averages just 3.6 points per game, and Cowan averages 3.3 points per game, but also 2.5 rebounds per game. So you get down below Russell and Lewis, and it's those guys just kind of do their part, pick up a point here and there, just trying to fill out that roster. And as we talked about, the Cavaliers coming off a pretty good win over Lakewood Park Christian. They defeated the Panthers 49-34. Lewis had 15 points in that game. Turian Brown had 9 points, and Dressler had 7 points in that contest. So the Cavaliers coming into this contest at just 2-8, but their schedule also isn't the easiest. Taking a look from the John Harrell Indiana High School basketball website, the Canterbury Cavaliers have the 46th most difficult schedule in the state, as their opponents up to this point have an overall record of 76-49. So not necessarily an easy road for the Cavaliers, despite being a much smaller school.
We have number 4, Eric Hosser, coming out, a previous varsity guy with a little bit of experience last year. Number 4, Eric Hosser, coming out with the red stripes down the side, the all-white jersey. Then we have number 5, Ethan Zahn, coming out with that curly flow on top with the red numbers and letters on the back and on the front. Then we have number 11, Zach Nash, coming out with his routine handshake with looks to be Ethan Hubbard or Brody Swayner, that is, again, right there. And then we have number 32, Asher Chipchowski, coming out with a nice little handshake there with Brody Swayner, as they all have their nice little unique things that are just personal to them. And then rounding it up for the Vikings, we have number 33, Levi McElhaney, coming out, the second point leader in this season for the Vikings. Again, that's Ethan Zahn, Levi McElhaney, Eric Hosser, Asher Chipchowski, and Zach Nash. And then for the Canterbury Cavaliers, we have Devon Lewis, Will Russell, Ashton Dresser, Dallas Watson, and Davis Cohen.
And you say Levi McElhaney has been a nice addition to this Huntington North basketball program. Transferred in last year, had to sit out due to transfer rules, but he was able to practice with the team and kind of get into the system and get to know the guys and build some camaraderie. Been a really nice addition to this program this year.
Yes, it has. It has. As we're saying, not a lot of varsity experience, but then with Levi McElhaney coming up, Asher coming up, and then Ethan Zahn making himself known in varsity experience as only a sophomore, even Brody Swayner making it coming in. And now I'm going to pass it off to Mr. Nick Altman.
Okay, Levi McElhaney at the center against Dallas Watson. McElhaney controls the tip, knocks it back to Eric Hosler, who gives it off to Ethan Zahn. Zahn brings it across midcourt, gets it over to Zach Nash on the right side. Nash on the wing, looks out top of the key, nothing there. Finds Ethan Zahn cutting across. Ball swung over to Hosler on the right, or on the left, and Hosler almost loses it, comes back with it and drops it down to Zahn for a little layup amid traffic to put Huntington North on the board first.
Yeah, absolutely. A great put up there by the Vikings.
Lewis has the ball at the free throw line, kicks it out to Davis Cowan. Cowan's three-pointer is no good, gets his own rebound, and his second rebound comes down to Nash. Huntington North leading this one 2-0, just under a minute into the contest. Ethan Zahn brings it across the timeline, kicks it over right side to Nash. Nash out top to Hosler for a long three, no good, but McElhaney fights for the board, comes down with it, puts it back up, no good, and the rebound comes down to Chipchowski, but looks like there was a little extracurricular activity on that rebound. So there's going to be a foul on Chipchowski. That's his first foul and the first of the game for the Vikings. So with the Vikings up 2, Devin Lewis brings the ball across midcourt. Dribbling between the circles, he goes left to Cowan. Cowan out top to Watson, now back over to Lewis. Lewis dribbles toward the top of the key, looking to get past McElhaney, can't quite do it. Torian Brown now hands the ball off to Will Russell, now back out to Lewis, and his three is no good. And the rebound comes down to Dallas Watson, who puts it back for 2. Watson grabbed that rebound over Ethan Zahn right under the basket. Evens the score, 2-2, 6:16 left in this first quarter. Hosler, ball on the left or the right wing, gets it down to McElhaney for a nice spin move, and he is fouled by Dallas Watson and gets the basket to go.
Absolutely, and then we have Levi McElhaney with a free throw percentage shooting of 56.3, which is one of the highest on the team, considering that he has the most 9 out of 16.
And his free throw is up and good to complete the conventional three-point play. Vikings up 5-2, 6 minutes left in this first quarter. Will Russell drives to the basket, kicks it out to Cowan. Now over to Lewis. Or excuse me, that's Brown. Brown drives, kicks it to Russell for a three, and he knocks that down to even the score at 5 apiece. The three-pointer, the great equalizer in basketball today. Just when you think you're pulling ahead and getting some distance, that lead can disappear really quickly with a quick three-pointer. Hostler, top of the key, gets it over to Nash, right side. Nash tries to get it down to McElhaney, but pesky defense by Cowan. And in a crowd under the basket, basketball gets kicked out of bounds off of Canterbury. Hostler will inbound the ball for the Vikings. Hostler gets it into Nash. Now out top to Zahn. Zahn on the center circle. Goes right to Nash on the wing. Nash dribbles out toward the top, kicks it into Zahn, who feeds it down to McElhaney for an easy two. 7-5, Huntington North leading in this one with just over 5 to play in the first quarter. Will Russell has it for Canterbury, now to Brown. Brown tries to drive in, nothing doing there. Now back out to Cowan, now to Lewis. Lewis at the free throw line, runs into a crowd of Vikings, kicks it out to Brown, and Brown's three-point attempt is no good. And McElhaney and Watson get tangled up on the rebound, and it's going to be called a jump ball, and it will stay on the far end with the Cavaliers. Brown gets the inbounds pass for the Cavaliers. Now Lewis on the right or left wing, and Lewis trying to give a cross-court pass over to Cowan. Gets a little bit tripped up defensively. That foul is going to go on Eric Hostler. That'll be his first of the contest and the second of the game for the Vikings. Cavaliers retain possession in their blue jerseys with white numbers. Lewis trying to drive in, splits a pair of Viking defenders, and gets to the basket, picks up a foul. His shot was no good. That foul is going to go against Ethan Zahn of the Vikings. The officials are going to call that one on the floor, so no free throws coming. Oh, looks like the officials changed their mind on that one. But Lewis with 2 free throws coming. And his first free throw is no good. Canterbury, blue uniforms, white numbers, white stripe down the side. Vikings in their white home uniforms, red numbers, red striping on the sides. Lewis's second free throw is good.
Absolutely, and then Lewis with a 75% free throw percentage on the season.
And for the Vikings, score 7-6 now. Vikings lead. Ethan Zahn bringing the ball up the court, kicks it up to Eric Hostler. And Hostler gets it back to Zahn to slow things up. Zahn near midcourt, gets it to Nash on the left side. Nash thinks about a three, decides against it, feeds it down to Chipchowski. His shot's no good, gets his own rebound, and the putback is also no good. And the rebound comes down to Cowan for Canterbury. Cowan thinks about a three, kicks it over to Brown. Brown tries to drive to the rim and gets a little kiss off the glass to give the Canterbury Cavaliers their first lead of this contest at 8-7 with 3:46 left in this first quarter. Eric Hostler goes baseline, finds that it's a little more open than he expected, puts up a shot, and it's no good. Second, he gets his own rebound. His second one, also no good, but that rebound comes down to McElhaney. And McElhaney trying to put up another shot is no good, but he draws the foul from Cowan. So that's going to put McElhaney at the free throw line, and this one touches every part of the rim before dropping through the cotton.
McElhaney with the potential to have 7 out of the Vikings. Could be 9 points coming up here.
Tyler Carr, number 10, reports in for the Vikings.
Tyler Carr checks in for the Vikings. Now replacing Asher Chipchowski. McElhaney's second free throw is good to put the Vikings back on top, 9-8. 3.5 minutes left in this first quarter. And Cowan Shoots a three from the left side, left wing, and it drops in. Puts the Cavaliers right back on top, 11-9. 3:15 left in this first quarter. Zahn having trouble getting across the timeline against Lewis's defense. And then Cowan with some stingy defense as well, causing some problems for the Vikings. But the ball gets knocked out of bounds, and it will stay at this end for Huntington North. Nash gets the inbounds pass, feeds it down low to Carr. Carr puts up a little hook and gets that one to fall to even the score at 11-11. 3 minutes left in this first quarter. Devin Lewis gets it over to Will Russell. Russell now to Cowan. Cowan drives in, back out to Russell. Between the circles, crossover dribble, kicks it out to Ashton Dressler. Dressler now out to Lewis. Lewis drives to the rack and gets blocked by McElhaney. And it's blocked right to Will Russell. Russell's shot is no good, and the rebound comes down to McElhaney, who pushes it up to Eric Hostler. Out top to Ethan Zahn. Zahn between the circles, trying to work against Terrian Brown. And trying to feed the ball down to McElhaney. The ball is stolen away by the Cavaliers, but trying to go the other direction. The Huntington North Vikings pick it back up. 11-11, 2 minutes left in this first quarter. Eric Hostler tries to go to the basket. Thought he had a lane, but there was some contact. He thought he was fouled. The official saw it as all ball, but it went out of bounds, so it'll stay on this end with the Vikings. Hostler will inbound on the baseline. Trying to find somebody to get to. Gets it into McElhaney. McElhaney turn hook, no good. The rebound comes down to Tyler Carr. And kind of a scrum for the basketball. It goes into a jump ball situation between McElhaney and a few Canterbury defenders.
Number 10, Wardlow into the...
And Dylan Wardlow checks in for the Cavaliers. Wardlow, a junior, 6'4" on the roster. Or excuse me, that's Deacon Wardlow. Excuse me, he's 6'2" on the roster. And Tyler Carr picks up a basket for Huntington North to put the Vikings on top, 13-11. Just a minute and a half left in this first quarter. Wardlow drives to the free throw line, kicks it out to Cowan. Cowan tries to drive in, back out to Russell. Russell trying to figure something out, gets it out to Lewis. Lewis drives into the elbow, nothing going. Out to Dressler. Dressler now working against Ethan Zahn. Back out to Lewis for three. No good. And the rebound came down to Carr, but the quick hands of Dressler in there knocks the ball loose. And say one thing you can say about the Canterbury Cavaliers, they have active hands defensively. You can never bring that ball down without having a good squeeze on that orange. So Zahn over on the right wing, looking for something, gets it to Hostler. Hostler on the left wing, drives into the free throw line, in the lane, feeds it to Carr. Nothing going there. Stolen by Cowan for Canterbury. Now up to Will Russell. And Zach Nash, trying to draw a foul as Cowan was driving to the basket. Gets called for the blocking foul. That's going to be Nash's first. The fourth team foul for the Vikings right now. And Wes Huff checks in, and Ethan Hubbard checking in, replacing Zach Nash and Ethan Zahn. So for the Vikings, we have Eric Hostler, Tyler Carr, Levi McElhaney, Wes Huff, and Ethan Hubbard for the Vikings. And with 20 seconds left, it looks like the Canterbury Cavaliers are content to let this clock tick away and hold on for one last shot in this quarter. Back out to Devin Lewis, top of the key. He's just casually dribbling, working against McElhaney now. Tries to drive it in. McElhaney gets his hand in there. And Lewis is still able to get to the rack and score as the buzzer sounds to even this score at 13-13 after 1 quarter of play.
Lewis becoming a ball player, as he always has been, averaging, I believe, 18 points per game. He had 18 points per game. And then with the team averaging 8 blocks per game. And as you said, very, very active hands on the defensive side. And Davis Cowan is a great, great example of that, as he has locked down defense on number 4, Eric Hassler, on the Vikings side. It's going to be very difficult for the Vikings to get past their defense, as the score is 13-13. Both teams playing a great game. However, I believe that the Cavaliers' defense is just a little bit better than the Vikings, you could say. However, the Vikings are playing a great game, getting by that, making plays, making themselves known, as Levi McElhaney is doing just that. I believe he has 7 out of 13 points right now.
That sounds about right for the Vikings. Davis Cowan for Canterbury, just a freshman. Listed at 5'11", maybe a little bit taller than that, but as you said, just active hands. He's just in there. He's not afraid to have a little bit of contact and makes it difficult. He's just a disruptive defender for the Cavaliers. So coming back out to start the second quarter for the Vikings. They will have the same lineup they had at the end of the fourth. Eric Hassler and Levi McElhaney, the only starters still out there for Huntington North, joined by Ethan Hubbard, Wes Huff, and Tyler Carr. And for Canterbury, it's Ashton Dressler inbounding the ball to Devin Lewis. Now over to Will Russell. Russell, top of the key, looking for somewhere to go. Now to Wardlow. Wardlow to Cowan. And back to Russell. Just kind of a 3-man weave at the top of the key right now. Lewis trying to drive in and gets a little bit tangled up, and the official calls him for steps. So that sends the ball back to Huntington North. Ball game tied 13-13, 7:35 left in this half. Tyler Carr gets the ball from Hassler. Now back to Eric. Drives to the right wing, gets it into Carr, kicks it out to Wes Huff for a 3, and his 3-point attempt is no good. So the rebound comes down to Canterbury, and Dressler is pushing the tempo, tries to get the ball up, and looks like Ethan Hubbard's hands get in there defensively, knocks the ball loose, and Huntington North comes away with the turnover. Hassler between the circles, gets it to Tyler Carr, top of the key. Carr tries to drive left, gets it back out to Huff. Now to Hubbard, top of the key. Now McElhaney trying to drive, but nothing there. Back out top. And Wes Huff has it between the circles. Now to Carr. Back over to Huff on the right wing. Now out top to Hassler. Hassler fires the 3 and drains that one. Puts the Vikings up 16-13. First basket of this second quarter. Just a minute and a half into the period. Will Russell now for Canterbury. Kicks it out to Wardlow. Deacon Wardlow. Now to Davis Cowan. Devin Lewis tries to work against Eric Hassler. And kicks it out to Cowan, whose 3 is no good. Now the rebound comes down to Hassler. Hassler pushing the tempo. Gets it up to Ethan Hubbard. Hubbard tries to feed it to a cutting Carr in the lane. Can't quite get a clean handle, and I think some of that had to do with the Canterbury defense.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And as you said in the first quarter, before the first quarter ended, active hands. And I think that's a great descriptive word for Canterbury Cavaliers defense right now, is very, very active hands, getting every loose ball that they can, as we just seen that. And it wasn't even necessarily a loose ball. It was a pass that Cavaliers just went and got after it.
So they jump those passing lanes. They get their hands in there. They're just busy, and they force you to try to stay focused, and I know for a lot of teams, they probably get them frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. And that could be why Coach Teagle put in Ethan Hubbard, who is fast, who is quick, maybe not as much as his brother Zach, the leading scorer last year, but still a great applicant to this team.
And Hassler inbounds the ball to Zach Nash, who just returned. Along with Nash, Asher Chipchowski has checked into the lineup for Huntington North. So Hassler has the ball on the left wing, working against Wardlow, out top to Zach Nash. Nash over to Hubbard on the right side, feeds it into Chipchowski, nothing there. Now Huff tries to work against Dressler. Nothing there. Now Hostler tries to drive, gets it into Chipchowski, who, as he caught it, he also had the defender's arm in there and was able to draw the foul as he put the shot up. So Chipchowski's going to be going to the free throw line for a pair. An opportunity to extend this Huntington North lead.
Chipchowski's first one up, and that one is no good, right off the front iron. Chipchowski, being for his free throw percentage, only 75% free throw percentage. That's 9 for 12. One of the better free throw shooters on the team. Second one's up, no good off the front iron.
Say both of those were short off the front iron, so the Vikings still up 16-13 with just under 5.5 minutes left in this second quarter. Shot by Canterbury, no good. The rebound comes down to Huntington North. So Vikings fortunate that Canterbury isn't knocking too many of its shots down right now. And Ethan Hubbard tries to get the feed from Ethan Zahn and can't finish. But Huntington North at this end gets a steal and trying to go up there. Zach Nash gets his shot blocked. And now Canterbury pushing the tempo at the other end. Devin Lewis on the left side feeds it down to Watson. Now back out to Lewis on the left wing. Tries to drive in against Hostler. Hostler trying to just wall up in there. Now Russell back out top to Lewis. Lewis, quick head fake, drives in, puts a shot up. It's no good. The rebound comes down to Hostler. Hostler brings it across the timeline. Gets it to Zach Nash, who feeds it down to a wide open Ethan Hubbard. And Hubbard can't quite finish that one as the defense closed on him. Now Russell trying to drive in, and Ethan Zahn trying to draw a charge. Can't quite get into position, trips up Russell as he's going to the basket, and that's going to put Will Russell at the free throw line for a pair for the Canterbury Cavaliers.
It looks like McElhaney will check in for Ethan Zahn, who has a little bit of foul trouble tonight, with I believe maybe even his third foul tonight.
That's just his second one, according to the scorer's table. But still, you want to preserve as many of your ball handlers in this game as you possibly can. So coach takes him out for now and puts McElhaney back in for a little bit of length. So Eric Hostler trying to wall up again against Devin Lewis. Now back out to Cowan for a three, and that one is nothing but net to even the score. 16-16, 4 minutes left in this half. Eric Hostler casually brings the ball across midcourt. Gets it over to Ethan Hubbard. Hubbard drives, tries to feed it to Chipchowski. Chipchowski can't handle it, but bobbles it over to McElhaney, who puts up a shot for Huntington North and gives the Vikings the lead at 18-16. 3.5 minutes left in the second quarter. Will Russell, top of the key for Canterbury, gets it to Ashton Dressler. Now over to Cowan. Back out to Dressler, top of the key. And McElhaney just tries to get in there and get the steal. Must have had a little bit of contact. That's McElhaney's first foul of this game. Coach Teagle was very, very high on Levi McElhaney after that Columbia City game. Despite the overall outcome of it, McElhaney had a double-double with 10 points and 10 rebounds. And Coach Teagle really liked it when McElhaney was in there. He felt like the Eagles had issues with him. He just brings a different skill set for these Vikings. He's another guy who's active defensively, but he has some length to him, so he can be disruptive. Back to action now. I believe there may have been the officials thought maybe there was blood on Eric Hostler's jersey, but they've determined that it must not be blood, so Hostler's still out there in his number 4 jersey. And Devin Lewis for Canterbury trying to drive in against McElhaney. Gets it over to Ashton Dressler. And ball gets a little bit loose at the far end for Canterbury, and they turn it over. Almost went out once, and Cowan went to save it, and it went right back out of bounds. So Vikings leading this one 18-16. Under 3 minutes to play in the half. Hostler brings it across the timeline, gets it over left-hand side to Tyler Carr. Carr feeds it to Nash, nothing there, feeds it to Chipchowski, then dips it down to McElhaney for a little kiss off the glass and puts the Vikings up by 4 at 20-16.
McElhaney with 11 himself this game, which is over half of the Vikings, as Lewis puts up a three-point shot, and that one is no good.
And the rebound comes down to Chipchowski. He secures it, gets it to Eric Hostler. Hostler brings it across the H at center court. Now to Nash. Nash feeds it to McElhaney, and right now, the Canterbury Cavaliers just don't have an answer for Levi McElhaney as he picks up his 13th point of this contest. Vikings leading this one now 22-16 with just over 2 minutes left in the first half.
Yeah, with great offense and defense by Levi McElhaney with now 13 points in this half, just this half. Compared to Canterbury's game with 10 that he had in that whole game. That's 4 quarters there, which is, it's got to say something about this game. It's got to say something about Levi McElhaney's skill and just the play that Coach Craig Teal has put up against this team. There's so many different aspects that a coach would need to put up a scouting report here, and I think Coach Teal has done a great one with that, getting in their quickness of the quick hands to combat the Cavaliers' quickness and their quick hands.
The best part of it is their high percentage shots for McElhaney. I mean, usually he's got a teammate driving and they just dump it down to him right on the block. And, you know, most varsity basketball players are going to make that 9 times out of 10. Just easy buckets, high percentage baskets, and those are the types of shots that Coach Teagle really likes to see. So, coming out of the timeout, Turian Brown has the ball for Canterbury, swings it to Lewis, now over to Ashton Dressler. Dressler drives in, finds himself in a crowd of Vikings under the basket, tries to kick it out, but a foul is going to be called, and that is the 7th team foul on the Vikings. That's McElhaney's 2nd. So with the 7th foul, that puts Canterbury in the bonus, so they'll be shooting free throws the remaining 1 minute and 37 seconds of this half.
Shooting 1 and 1.
And Dressler will be at the free throw line with 1 in bonus. Dressler's first is up and no good. The rebound looked like it was coming down to Chipchowski, but Asher couldn't quite handle it, but it still goes into Huntington North's possession. Hostler brings it across the timeline. Vikings leading 22-16, under a minute 30 left in this half. Zach Nash way out on the left-hand side. Gets it to Wes Huff, now back out to Nash. Tyler Carr at the free throw line, out to Wes Huff for 3, and Huff makes those look easy. Stretches the Vikings lead 25-16 with a minute left in this half. Cowan has it, gets it to Ashton Dressler. Dressler tries to drive, runs into a wall of Tyler Carr and Wes Huff. And now Devin Lewis tries to drive in. Huff comes down with the board. Hostler just moseys across the timeline with this one. In no rush. 42 seconds left in this first half. Vikings leading 25-16. And Wes Huff has it out between the circles. Kicks it over left side to Zach Nash. Nash now back out to Hostler. Now Huff. Chipchowski. And Zach Nash once again. Vikings trying to get this down to about 10 seconds. That's usually when they start their movement. And now Ashton Hostler out near midcourt with 7 seconds left, trying to work against Turian Brown. Gets it to Wes Huff, who puts up a 3, and that one drops. Huge
three-point ball by Wes Huff there with his 2nd on the night, 2 for 3 that is. But then Coach Teagle, almost every time I talk to him in the interview, he's always like, momentum is key. And frankly, the Vikings have the momentum as they lead by 12 into this half.
It seems like every coach talks about, the most important 10 minutes of every contest are the first 5 minutes of the first half and the first 5 minutes of the second half. But if you talk to Coach Teagle, he'll also tell you the last possession of every quarter can be huge, especially there. Like this one, going into the locker room, instead of being up just by 9, the Vikings are up 12, 28-16 here at halftime. So with that, we're going to take a break. It's halftime here at Bob Straight Court at North Arena. Huntington North Vikings leading the Canterbury Cavaliers by a score of 28-16. We'll be back after this break. You're listening to Huntington North Vikings
You said that to me
basketball and Viking Radio.
What are you, a yellow booger?
I'm a
Brought to you by
banana
Fifth
slug,
State
Steven.
Bank.
What are you
First
doing in
Federal
my
Savings
room?
I'm
Bank,
your sensitive
Harvard
adventure.
Rock,
It's been a
Garrett,
long time since
Haversack,
we've had an
Garrett
adventure
Law,
in the forest.
No
Mom
Way,
took me
and
to the
Z
forest
Place
last
Pizza.
year.
I'm a slug, Steven. It took me a long time to get here.
You're right. I should get out.
Yeah, the forest is not that far away.
Hey, Mom!
Come to the forest where the more adventurous you lives. Check out discovertheforest.org for cool places nearby. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
To some, the sound of a baby babbling doesn't mean much, but that's not true. They're testing out vowels and consonants and trying different sounds. And by 12 months, their babbling is beginning to take on meaning, especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
To protect her home and family in a disaster, Karen was willing to wade through water, mud, and insurance paperwork.
Yeah, I can do this.
You go, Karen! By simply understanding and updating what her insurance covers and doesn't cover now, she'll be better prepared no matter when disaster strikes. Learn other simple ways to protect your home and family before a natural disaster at ready.gov. That's ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, it's time for today's STEM tip. Want to know how to make your selfies even better? Okay, let's use science. The best time for photos is golden hour. That's the moment right before the sun sets, when the atmosphere scatters blue and violet wavelengths, making perfect, soft, and golden selfie light to show off that beautiful face of yours. Click. Check out Chic and STEM for more inspiration. A message from the Ad Council.
Broadcasting from room 104 of the Huntington North High School building.
A broadcast service of the Huntington County Community School Corporation.
Viking Radio 91.9 WVSH.
Back live here at North Arena, the Huntington North Vikings leading the Canterbury Cavaliers by a score of 28-16. I'm Nick Altman alongside Max Robrock. Let's take a look at some of the halftime statistics. Leading the way for the Huntington North Vikings, Levi McElhaney is 5 for 7 from the field and 3 for 3 from the free throw line to tally 13 points in this contest. He also has 3 rebounds to go with that and a blocked shot. Also scoring for Huntington North, Wes Huff knocked down a pair of threes toward the end of the first half for 6 points. He also has 2 rebounds and an assist. Tyler Carr has 4 points for the Vikings to go with a pair of rebounds and an assist. And Ethan Zahn has 2 points, and Eric Hostler has a basket and a free throw for 3 points to go along with a pair of rebounds and 3 assists in this contest. The Cavaliers, meanwhile, are led by Davis Cowan. He is 2 for 4 for 3-pointers for 6 points. Also scoring for the Cavaliers, Devin Lewis has 3 points off of a basket and a free throw. Will Russell is 1 for 2 for 3-pointers for 3 points. And Terrian Brown has 2 points, and Dallas Watson also has 2 points for the Cavaliers. Taking a look at some other various stats. Huntington North leading the points off turnovers battle. Huntington North has 7 points off of turnovers, where Canterbury only has 2. Both teams each have 3 3-point baskets for 9 points from beyond the arc, and the Vikings have 4 second chance points to Canterbury's 2 second chance points. And this is a big one that some analysts will look at. Points per possession. Huntington North right now leading that one big time. They're averaging 1.3 points per game or per possession. Meanwhile, Canterbury has just 0.75 points per possession.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, like you said, I don't think the turnovers are a big factor in this game so far, are they?
Huntington North has 2 turnovers, and Canterbury has 5, which 5's not great, but as you said in pregame, most coaches aim to have 10 turnovers or less per game. I mean, if you have less than 10 turnovers, you're usually going to be in a pretty good spot, and that's the pace that Canterbury is at right now.
And Huntington North with only 2
with
themselves.
Just 2. The Vikings taking good care of the ball despite the handsy defense by Canterbury. And really, that second quarter was the difference. The Vikings and Canterbury came into the second quarter tied at 13-13. The Vikings outscored the Cavaliers 15-3 in that second quarter to really pull away in this one and open up a 12-point lead at 28-16.
Yeah, absolutely. And then McElhaney with an astounding 13 points, 1 block, and a couple steals, I think you mentioned there, which is great coming into the second half. The Vikings have so many players on their team that play such a different key role in the Vikings lineup so far. You have Ethan Hubbard, Zach Nash, Ethan Zahn, Chipchowski, Carr, Huff, Hosser. All of them have such a specific and individualized role that although they had 7 seniors lose, they've stepped up. They have stepped up, I believe, from the first semester of the school year coming into the second semester. It has been a very big difference, a very big different style of ball than they played at the beginning of the year.
Well, and you look at some of these players, I mean, Wes Huff, Tyler Carr, those guys, they didn't play last year. They saw that there were 9 seniors, and they weren't sure where they fit in. And I think both of them realized in the offseason, they missed playing. So they came back, and really, anytime you step away from the game for a year or so and then try to come back, it sets you back a little bit. And this time of year, it seems like they're finally starting to settle into maybe their roles within the team and settle into the offense and really just get comfortable with things. And in that case right there, Wes Huff, one of his main roles on this team, I would say Wes, height-wise, he's a little undersized, but he's deceptively quick. He handles the ball well enough, but his biggest attribute, he's got a quick release when it comes to his shot, and he's a lethal three-point shooter if he gets into the groove. So he's 2 for 3 for this game so far. So that's really he's the shooter of this team, and I'm sure Canterbury has a good feeling about that now, and they'll probably try to put somebody on him.
Yeah, as you said, 2 for 3 isn't exactly an astounding statistic. However, when you break down those 3 shots that he had, especially the 2 that he made, the last 2 shots that the Vikings shot that they attempted and made coming in the third quarter, the second half, is astounding. That's huge momentum that Teagle's been looking for all year.
Well, and yeah, that momentum. And then Coach Teagle, if it's under a minute, you can expect Coach Teagle's teams to try to work the ball around in that last minute and get that last shot of the half or of the quarter. And I've talked to him about that, and he said, think about it, you can either take that last shot and you can stretch your lead by 2 points, or if you take an early shot, the rebound comes away to the other team and they go down and score, that's potentially a 5-point swing there. So he wants to really control that. And in this case, Wes Huff put up the 3 at the end for Huntington North. So the Vikings coming in here with a pretty comfortable lead going into the third quarter. There's still a lot of basketball to play. And as I mentioned earlier, the 3-point shot really allows teams to close that gap in a hurry. So 12 points, that's really 4 possessions if you're a 3-point shooting team.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Cavaliers haven't been shooting as well as they were in the first quarter. That, as far as I see, I saw a lot of potential from Cohen in the first quarter, making 2 3-pointers, and then he just couldn't find his groove again coming into the second quarter with a little bit above 30 seconds here until we get this third quarter underway.
Well, and last year, Huntington North held Canterbury to just about 30 to 35% from the field. So right now, they are also doing that, holding the Cavaliers almost identical. They're shooting just 27% from threes, and their total field goal percentage is at 31.6%. So Vikings controlling this one defensively and also hitting the shots down along the way. Vikings hitting 60% of their three-pointers. They're 3 for 5 in this contest,
which is a solid number that the Vikings have seen.
That's a pretty good clip. If you are above 50% for threes, you're a pretty good three-point shooting team. And the Vikings are going to open this second half with possession. Eric Hostler, Levi McElhaney, Ethan Zahn, Zach Nash, and Asher Chipchowski taking the floor for the Vikings. Zahn working against Lewis, and that shot, McElhaney tried to feed the ball, or excuse me, that was Nash trying to feed the ball down to Chipchowski, but Chipchowski couldn't handle it cleanly. The official calls him for traveling right on the baseline, gives the ball right back to Canterbury. Vikings leading this one 28-16 to start the second half. Canterbury now, Turian Brown kicks it over to Davis Cowan. Cowan back out to Will Russell. Russell's three is no good, and team's trying to corral the basketball. Had trouble doing it on that rebound, but Lewis now has it for Canterbury. Top of the key over to Brown for a corner three, and that finds the bottom of the net for Canterbury. And the official calling a quick timeout to get things settled here because the ball was rolling away from the action. So officials timeout in that case. 7 minutes left in this third quarter. Huntington North has the ball, and Hostler feeds the ball down to Nash for a nice up and under layup to put the Vikings up 30-19, under 7 minutes to play in this third. Will Russell, top of the key, between the legs, over to Davis Cowan. Cowan tries to drive, puts up a floater, and it's about the most finesse type of move that we've seen from Canterbury in this game so far. And Cowan makes that one look easy in the middle of the lane. Hostler over right side, tries to drive to the basket, kicks it out to Chipchowski for an easy two. And Coach Teagle, not sure what he sees there. Everything looks good from up here, but Coach Teagle sees something that he wants to make sure of. Calls a quick 30-second timeout with the Vikings leading 32-21, 6:23 left in this third quarter. The coach is just reiterating what the game plan is here.
Yeah, as I've seen it a couple times before happening, especially after halftime. I've seen it very much where he's just, maybe he sees something a little out of tune or out of whack that he talked about in the halftime time where they had together, and there was just a little bit something not right there.
Yeah. So just reminding players what the game plan is, settling them back in. Back out of here, Huntington North leading 32-21, 6:15 left in the third quarter. Tyrion Brown back out to Will Russell. Russell drives to the free throw line, puts in a awkward wraparound shot. McElhaney comes down with the ball, tries to push it up the court, can't get anything going himself, and bit of a loose ball. The Vikings come away with it. Ethan Zahn over to Eric Hostler. Out to Ethan Zahn. Zahn fakes the three. A little bit confused as to where McElhaney was going to go on that one. Turian Brown misses at the other end for Canterbury. Zahn pushes the ball up for Huntington North. Zahn feeds it down to Nash. Nash on the elbow. Gets it to McElhaney, who tries to back down a couple defenders and battle in there. And on the rebound, there's going to be a hold on McElhaney. That's going to be his third of this contest.
Yeah, it's very difficult for Levi McElhaney there, as he had three defenders on him, triple teaming him. Maybe that's what the Cavs are talking about in their halftime situation that they had there. And, you know, they couldn't stop Levi McElhaney as he came out of the first half with
13 points.
13 points, yeah.
That may have been a point of emphasis for the Cavaliers at halftime. Try to really stop him. But Tyler Carr comes in for McElhaney. And a foul on the rebound. Tyler Carr trying to box out. And I believe it was Canterbury's, Dallas Watson, who got a little off balance and flailed his arms. And the official ended up calling a foul on Carr. So that's Carr's first foul of this contest. Just trying to do what I'm sure his coach told him to do. Lewis fakes a three, drives to the basket, and gets, I thought he had that one. but it rolled out, and then on the rebound, looks like Watson knocks that one off of Tyler Carr right under the basket on the baseline. Russell inbounds it to Devin Lewis. Lewis over to Brown for a three, and that one, nothing but net. Gets that lead back to single digits for the Vikings at 32-24. Just over 4.5 minutes to play in this third quarter. And Ethan Zahn loses his footing there. And Zach Nash goes up and creates enough of a disturbance for Will Russell to disrupt his shot, and Tyler Carr comes down with the rebound. Eric Hostler now over right side to Zach Nash. Back out top to Zahn, now over to Hostler. Hostler tries to drive in, nothing there. Kicks it over to Nash for three. It's no good. The rebound comes down to Carr. And then there's a foul on that rebound. Devin Lewis trying to back his man out.
Is more of an opposite push call, I guess you could call there.
Well, I'd say the players kind of had their backs to each other, but as Carr went up, Lewis backed into him and knocked him a little bit off balance. So Nash feeds the ball down to Chipchowski for two. Pushes the lead for the Vikings back up to double digits at 34-24. 3:50 left in this third quarter. Cowan out top to Russell for three. That one's no good. Carr comes away with the rebound. And again, just relentless defense by the Cavaliers. Carr was swarmed right away with the rebound, tried to push it up the court, and he had defenders on each side of his hips. And Brown's jumper from the free throw line drops, making the score 34-26. Huntington North still in the lead. 3:15 left in this third quarter. Nash on the right side feeds it down to Chipchowski. Chipchowski spin, no good. Rebound comes down to Dallas Watson. Watson, awkward dribble, feeds it up to Cowan. Back out to Watson. Now to Brown for three. That's another one for Brown. No good. Nash comes down with the rebound. Gives the ball off to Hostler, who calmly brings it across the timeline. Gets it over to Huff. Now to Nash. Feeds it down to Carr for an easy basket on the baseline. Pushes the Vikings lead back to 10, 36-26. 2.5 minutes left in the quarter. Davis Cowan, top of the key, feeds it over to Devin Lewis. Lewis's three rattles in, no good. And Zach Nash comes down with the rebound. Feeds it to Hostler, who jogs it up the court. Hostler gets it to Huff on the right side. Huff out top to Nash. Nash back over to Huff again. Now feeds it down to Chipchowski. Nothing there. Back out to Huff. Huff tries to drive baseline. Gets it to Hostler. Hostler just a little hesitant and gets called for traveling.
Canterbury's coach is visibly upset. That is Derek Adams. I don't want to say yelling at his players, but sternly talking to and telling them what they need to be done.
It's frustrating as a coach when you've probably done these things through the week and you watch your players out there doing things totally different than what you've been working on. And Will Russell drives into the lane, splits the defense, and knocks down two for Canterbury. Hostler brings the ball up against Devin Lewis, gets it into the front court, and ball gets stolen by Hostler. Now Zach Nash trying to catch up, and the basket was no good going up. Lewis caught Nash in the face with an elbow. I think it was inadvertent, nothing intentional, but Will Russell followed with the basket, or with a follow-up putback. So Canterbury has cut this lead down to 6 at 36-30 with just about a minute left in the third quarter. Tyler Carr drives in and gets the kiss off the glass. Gets the Vikings back on the board. 38-30. 55 seconds to play in this third quarter. Will Russell over to Turian Brown. Brown now to Lewis. Lewis on the right side. Cross court to Cowan. Now further onto the wing to Russell. Back out top to Lewis. Lewis fakes, back out to Cowan for three. That one is off the mark. Rebound comes down to Watson. Back out to Brown. 24 seconds left in this third quarter. Russell dribbles it out between the circles. Now Watson looking for somewhere to go, gets it over to Cowan. Thought about another three-point attempt. Now Lewis. Lewis on the far side. Crossover dribble, step back, and it was blocked. And a heave by Tyler Carr is no good. So after 3 quarters of play, Huntington North leading this one 38-30. Canterbury closed the gap a little bit as the Vikings were up by 12 at halftime.
Absolutely, and then just that block by Tyler Carr that he had and that heave across there was big momentum for the Vikings there. Think about it, if Devon Lewis hit that shot, the Vikings are leading by 5 compared to 8.
Well, yeah, it was a kind of a crossover step back three. Difficult shot. But yeah, had Lewis been able to knock that one down, that's definitely a momentum shifter heading into this final quarter of play. Instead, Carr gets up there and is able to get a hand on it and deflect it enough to put it off the mark. And the Vikings maintain their lead at 38-30.
The Vikings and the Cavs doing a great job on offense and defense. A very well-played game. A very meticulously thought out by Derek Adams and Craig Teagle on both sides of how they're going to play this game. And now it comes down to who wants it more right now with only an 8-point lead from the Vikings.
And I'm sure right now, Coach Teagle, the clock, you don't want to nurse the clock too much, but at the same time, the clock's your ally. There's no reason to be in any rush at this point.
Yeah. And
meanwhile, for Canterbury, the clock is going to be ticking away.
Yeah.
So it's the opposite. You want to really kind of keep your composure here, and as Coach Teagle always talks about, toughness and poise, just that poise down the stretch, keeping control, taking care of the basketball. For the Vikings here in the fourth quarter, Levi McElhaney back in for Huntington North. So taking a look at the Vikings lineup right now, it's the same as their starting lineup, except Tyler Carr is in instead of Ethan Zahn. Otherwise, Zach Nash, Eric Hostler, Levi McElhaney, and Asher Chipchowski. So one of the taller lineups for the Vikings right now, with Chipchowski and McElhaney in there. And Lewis shoots a long three. It's no good. But on the rebound, Davis Cowan going for the rebound, really getting after it, and knocks Zach Nash over. And that sends the ball back the other direction. That foul is going to be on Cowan. That's his second of this contest. The Cavaliers putting on a full court press here, making it difficult to inbound. And Zahn gets double teamed in the backcourt, trying to figure out a place to go with it. And there's going to be a foul called on Devin Lewis. And again, it's that defense, that physical, quick hands defense. It's nice if you can get a clean hand on the ball, but it's really tough to do against some guards. And Ethan Zahn, one of the better ball handlers on this Huntington North team. So tough to get in there when he's protecting the ball. Zahn brings it up off the inbound, gets it to Tyler Carr. Carr looking for somewhere to go. Almost passes it right to Turian Brown, but the ball gets knocked right back to Carr. Zahn puts up a three-pointer. It's no good. And Levi McElhaney picks up his fourth foul on that rebound. He's not sure what he did wrong. That's McElhaney's fourth. So he's going to go and he'll probably come back at about the 4 or 3 minute mark in this contest. But for now, Eric Hostler's in there. It's another ball handler for Huntington North. So against this active defense by Canterbury, it's good to have ball handlers in there.
Yes, it is.
Will Russell tries to drive baseline. Nothing going there. The rebound comes down to Zach Nash. Now to Hostler. Hostler working against Davis Cowan. And gets it over to Zahn, who figures out a way to handle it. And trying to feed the ball down to Asher Chipchowski, working against Dallas Watson, and the ball gets knocked out of bounds, but the official says the ball went out of bounds off of Chipchowski. So coming back to this end with Canterbury. Vikings still leading this one, 38-30. 6:20 left in the fourth quarter. Devin Lewis, top of the key, gets it over to Cowan. Cowan working against Ethan Zahn. Back out to Lewis, who thinks about a long three. Behind the back dribble, pull up jumper, and he knocks that one down from the wing. And you say a little confusion on the inbound there. Ethan Zahn thought that somebody else was going to be inbounding it. He stepped across the baseline on the inbounds pass, and you're not allowed to do that. So he stepped in, and then he tried to step back out to do the inbounds pass, but I just don't think he was quite ready for it. But Canterbury's going to get the ball back. Vikings still leading 38-32, under 6 to play in this final quarter.
Yes, it's very difficult for the Vikings now with Levi McElhaney in a little bit of foul trouble there. But then, especially with the momentum going towards the Cavs here, I don't want to say, you can sense a feeling of that the Vikings are down right now, even like that. Even though they're up by 6, but you can sense that Coach Teagle's just so in it.
Well, and I say right now, you can feel that the momentum is with Canterbury right at the moment. You take out Levi McElhaney, who's been Huntington North's best player tonight, arguably, and they see an opening right now. So trying to get back in this. This team was down by 12 at halftime, and they've fought back. They're within 2 possessions with a couple of 3-point baskets. It's a 6-point game. So Canterbury, they sense an opportunity at this moment, and they want to try to capitalize on that. Mm-hmm. So Ashton Dressler inbounding for Canterbury. Tries to get it into Devin Lewis. Instead gets it out top to Will Russell. Vikings leading again, 38-32. Russell kicks it off to Lewis for 3, and he can't knock that one down. The rebound comes down to Eric Hostler. Keep saying Ashton Hostler, but he played here last year. But Eric playing fairly well tonight for the Vikings. Eric Hostler has the ball, drives in against Davis Cowan. Nothing there. Back out to Chipchowski. Now to Nash on the left wing. Carr has the ball on the left baseline. Almost loses it. Nothing going there. This stingy Canterbury defense. And Devin Lewis gets his hand in there against Eric Hostler and knocks the ball loose. Now out to Zach Nash for a corner 3, and that's much needed for the Vikings. Stretches that lead back out to 41-32. 9 points seems like such a much larger lead than 6 points, even though it's just one shot. Lewis out to Will Russell, now to Dressler. Dressler pulls in for a jumper at the free throw line. It's no good. The rebound comes down to Ethan Zahn. 4:30 left in this game. Huntington North leading Canterbury 41-32. Zach Nash has the ball on the right side. Now out top to Ethan Zahn. Now to Hostler for 3. That one's a little strong off the back. Rebound comes down to Will Russell. Russell goes left. Nothing doing. Gets it out to Dressler. Now out to Lewis, who steps in to a sweet little 15-foot jumper for Canterbury. Makes the score 41-34. Ethan Zahn bring the ball up against Devin Lewis. Gets it over to Nash on the right side. Nash cross court to Zahn. Zahn directing traffic out at the top of the key, gets it to Chipchowski, right side. Now out to Hostler between the circles. Now to Carr, just beyond the three-point line. Hostler drives baseline, finds himself in the air, nothing there, but he kicks it out to Nash for a three, and that one's nothing but net.
A big shot by Nash. They're stretching the lead from the Vikings 9, which they had recently, then a 2 from the Cavs, put them down 7, and now or put them up 7. Excuse me. Now they're up 10 right now, which is it's just like you said, within the 6 to 9 difference in the lead. It's astronomical.
Well, and you get it to double digits like it is right now. This is actually the final score of the Huntington North and Columbia City game, 44-34. There's still 3:18 left in this contest, but I would argue that on that last play, and I think Coach Teagle would agree with me, Zach Nash bailed out Eric Hostler.
Yeah.
Hostler found himself going baseline and got himself in the air. He had nowhere to go.
No.
And it's one of those moments where he went and got in the air without thinking of where he was going to go, or if he knew, it closed down really fast. And he was able to just flip it out to Nash at the free or beyond the three-point line. And Nash was wide open because the defense had converged on Hostler under the basket. So big bucket for the Vikings, leading now 44-34. 3 minutes left. Devin Lewis drives in, leans into that one. His shot's no good. McElhaney's back into this contest for Huntington North. He comes down with the rebound, and it gets out to Ethan Zahn. Zahn working against Lewis, gets it to Tyler Carr. Carr working against Dressler. Now back to Zahn. Zahn feeds it down to Carr. Carr with the 2. And the lead is suddenly back to 12 points in the Vikings' favor. 46-34, 2.5 minutes to play. And Will Russell drives in, gets it over. Left side to Lewis. Now back out top to Dressler. Deep in the corner to Russell. Russell dribbles that one out. Now to Lewis. Back over to Cowan. Cowan knocked down a couple threes in the first half. Now to Dressler. He's thinking about it. Feeds it down to Russell. Russell now to Watson. And on that rebound, Ethan Zahn was going for it, but the Canterbury defenders knocked it out off of him. So it will stay Cavaliers ball at this end. And Dressler inbounds it to Russell. Russell to Cowan. Now back out to Devin Lewis. Lewis, head fake, drives in. Nothing there. Kicks it over to Russell. And Tyler Carr fights for that rebound, and the fight pays off because Davis Cowan was in there for Canterbury and picks up the foul. That's Cowan's third.
It'll be Viking ball on the line.
And Hostler inbounds it to Tyler Carr. Hostler working against Cowan, gets it across the timeline, but he is double, almost triple teamed. Finds Tyler Carr to get the ball away to. And now feeds Zach Nash feeds the ball down to McElhaney. And McElhaney gets his 15th point of this contest. Vikings leading 48-34. Cowan shoots a long three, no good. Rebound came down to Will Russell. And the Viking defenders were there and popped it out of bounds. So now Canterbury will reset on the baseline. Dressler inbounds it to Brown. Kareem Brown gets it down to Cowan. Cowan pivots around and is able to knock down a pair. And Vikings working the ball up the court. They get it to Nash across the timeline. Hostler now feeds it over to Carr. Ball gets swung over to Hostler. Now back to Nash. Carr. Now Zahn on the left side. Back out top to Nash, being guarded by Cowan. Pesky defense by Davis Cowan from Canterbury. Canterbury defense isn't afraid to step away from the basket. They come out a long way toward midcourt, which opens things up under the basket, but you've got to be able to get the ball there, and the Vikings just haven't managed to do that yet.
We've got a Cavaliers personal foul.
And Ethan Zahn trying to maintain control of the ball. Terrian Brown got his hand in there. That's Brown's first foul of this contest.
It is Viking ball.
Vikings leading 48-36, 37 seconds to play in this contest. And on the inbound, the Canterbury defense not giving a lot of breathing room to the Vikings.
No, they are not, and they have not been the whole game. However, the Vikings and the Cavaliers have been playing just a great deal of basketball, just pure basketball.
And not a ton of fouls, especially in this half. I mean, Huntington North, 3 team fouls. Canterbury, only 5 team fouls in this game. So this game seems to have gone, just a little bit ago, I'd mentioned that McElhaney came in with 3 minutes left, and I hadn't really even looked at the clock, and I just looked up and realized there's only 37 seconds left in this game. Time's ticking away pretty quickly in this one.
Yeah, that one possession where they were playing just a little bit of 5 corners, the Vikings. I mean, they probably took away darn near a minute of playing time.
Right. And now with this timeout, Coach Teagle just trying to make sure we don't want anything, the Vikings don't want anything silly to happen here in the last 37 seconds. Coming out of the timeout, Vikings have Eric Hostler inbounding the ball. Levi McElhaney in there along with Zach Nash, Ethan Zahn, and Tyler Carr. And the inbounds pass comes to Ethan Zahn in the backcourt. Zahn working against Devin Lewis. Gets it over to Nash on the right side. Nash feeds it down to Carr for an easy 2. Puts the Vikings lead up to 50-36. 20 seconds left in this contest. Ashton Dressler goes to the rack for Canterbury. And that's going to be Nash's second foul of the game.
Ashton Dressler at the line for the Cavaliers, shooting 2.
And Dressler's first is up and short.
Dressler, a relatively good free throw shooter, 75%, although he's only 6 for 8 on there. So there's not much evidence for him to look to, as his first one was missed, second one is up now, and that one is good.
Just over the front of the rim. So Vikings still leading this one by a baker's dozen, 50-37. Hostler inbounds it to Ethan Zahn. Zahn pushes it up to Zach Nash. Nash loses the handle, but it goes right to Levi McElhaney. Rather than try to go to the basket, McElhaney just pushes it out and lets the clock expire. And the Vikings come away with a victory tonight, 50-37 over the Canterbury Cavaliers. It was a hard-fought game for the Vikings to come away with the win in this one. Even talking to Coach Teagle leading up to it, historically, Canterbury hasn't been the strongest team to play against. They were just 2-8 this season, but he said don't let their numbers fool you. They were long, and he said the Vikings could have trouble with them, and at times they did.
Yeah, at times their defense was locked down, honestly locked down. The Cowan kid surprised me, he really did. As only a freshman, his quick hands and his fast feet he's able to get places where someone shouldn't in that amount of time.
And you say the Vikings are going to have to deal with him for the next 3 years now too. So, so again, the Vikings come away with a 50-37 victory over the Canterbury Cavaliers. We will be back after this break to break down some post-game stats and eventually get an interview with Huntington North head coach Craig Teagle. You're listening to Huntington North Vikings basketball on Viking Radio 91.9 WVSH, brought to you by Bippus State Bank, First Federal Savings Bank, Hartburg Roth, Garrett Halberstadt, Garrett Law, Nove.
Jill, why don't you tell the class what you did this weekend?
Well, my dad and I went in search of some magical minnows and found a zillion of them in the stream from our lookout rock. Then my sister and I escaped from an evil slug king and went back to my super twig fort for safety. Then we told stories till it got dark, and the Big Dipper led us all the way home.
Wow. Where were you, Jill?
We went to the forest. It's not that far away.
Ask your parents to take you and your friends to the forest this week. It's closer than you think. Check out discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, your prescription will be ready in just a minute. Hey, Dad, your laundry will be ready in just a minute. Dad, your lunch will be ready in just a minute.
Hey, honey, Why don't you take a minute? When you help care for a loved one, you give them as much time as you can. But it's just as important to take time for yourself. AARP can help. Find free care guides to support you and your loved one at aarp.org/caregiving. That's aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there.
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on a game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch. Whatever gets you talking.
Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
Let's be honest. The National Symphony may not be in his future, but he wanted to try violin. So you said yes because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more about keeping your kids safe in your vehicle at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Show him you love him. Keep him safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Back live at Bob Strait Court at North Arena, Nick Altman alongside Max Robrock. The Huntington North Vikings come away with a 50-37 victory over the Canterbury Cavaliers. Let's take a look at some post-game stats. Leading the way for the Vikings, Levi McElhaney finished with 15 points, 13 of those coming in the first half, along with 5 rebounds. But really the standout for the Vikings in this contest, Tyler Carr finished with 12 points and 8 rebounds to go with an assist and a blocked shot, including a big blocked shot at the end of the first half. That was the end of the third, I believe. But, Tyler Carr coming off the bench for 12 points and 8 rebounds in this contest. Zach Nash finished the game with 8 points and 5 rebounds. Wes Huff finished with those 2 3-pointers from the first half for 6 points to go with a pair of rebounds. And also for the Vikings, Asher Chipchowski finishes with 4 points and a pair of rebounds. And Eric Hostler finishes with 3 points and 3 rebounds and 7 assists in this contest to go against 3 turnovers. So if your turnovers are better than 2-1, that's pretty decent. And Ethan Zahn finished this game with 2 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. And for Canterbury, they had a pair of players with 10 points each. Turian Brown finished the game with 10 points to go with a pair of assists and a steal. And Davis Cowan, we talked about him throughout the night, finished with 10 points and a pair of rebounds in this contest. Rounding out the scoring for Canterbury, Devin Lewis, who came in as their leading scorer, averaging over 18 points a contest, finished with just 7 points. Will Russell finished with 5 points. Ashton Dressler finished with 1 point, and Dallas Watson added 4 points and 7 rebounds for the Cavaliers.
Yeah, absolutely. A great basketball game. Very pure, like I said recently. A very pure basketball game with the stats looking relatively the same, but the Vikings just came out on top. They hit their shots. They played their D. Got past the Cavs defense, which was very locked down, very, very tight, very well done. And with only 300 students in their whole program, the Cavs, I mean, it's very impressive how they have handled that. And like you said earlier, they have maybe not been such a strong team, but recently they have grown in their basketball program, and they're a strong basketball team.
And taking a look at some other team stats in this contest, Canterbury led the way as far as points off turnovers. They finished with 13 points off turnovers to Huntington North's 7. Total rebounds, Vikings had the edge on that front, finishing with 30 rebounds to the Cavaliers' 23 rebounds. Offensive rebound percentage, the Vikings picked up 42% of their offensive rebounds. So that's definitely a good stat to go to. Both teams, even from beyond the three-point line, with 15 points apiece. Second chance points, Cavaliers had a 1-point edge at 7-6 in that contest. And you mentioned the turnovers in this contest. Canterbury finished with just 5 turnovers in this game. And Huntington North, meanwhile, held their number 50-10, which is what Coach Teagle typically aims for.
Yeah, what's a little interesting to me as looking at the first half stats, the Vikings only had 2 turnovers, but then they got 8 more in the second half, which shows me at least that I don't know how to put it in words. Maybe that they played not more sloppy of ball, but maybe a little bit more aggressive, or just the Cavs had good defense and were able to knock the ball around.
I would say in that second half, Canterbury was a little bit more aggressive defensively, especially in that fourth quarter when they knew they maybe had to make a run. Got their hands in there a little bit more, and they were able to disrupt things for Huntington North. They got into some passing lanes for that. So, yeah, the Vikings finished the game with 10 turnovers to Canterbury's 5. But again, the Vikings come away with a big win, a way to rebound after that Columbia City game last Friday. The Vikings fell 44-34 to Northeast 8, leading Columbia City last Friday. So to rebound from that and come away with a 50-37 win over a pesky Canterbury team, I'm sure Coach Teagle will be happy with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then another big conference game I see is Norwell.
And that one is coming up. And there's also Belmont coming up this weekend. Mm-hmm. That will be Saturday. We actually will not be broadcasting that one because the boys team is playing at Belmont. The girls, the Lady Vikings, will be here at Bob Strait Court at North Arena hosting Indianapolis Cathedral, which is coached by 1996 Miss Basketball Lisa Winter. Well, used to be Lisa Winter. That's how most people in Huntington know her. But she is their head coach. So that's why that rivalry exists. The Cathedral Irish will come up here and take on Huntington North. And the girls, the ladies, will also be playing Belmont. They will host them on Friday night. So the Huntington North media crew will be busy this weekend, both Friday and Saturday, with home games. We will have those games on the air on 91.9 FM, and we will also be on the web with our live stream video via YouTube. If you go to YouTube and search at HNHS Media, it should take you to all of those games the day of. So Coach Teagle steadily making his way up here. Just to recap, Huntington North comes away with a 50-37 victory over Canterbury. This game was even after one quarter, tied at 13-13. And then the Vikings used a huge second quarter to open up a 12-point halftime lead. They outscored the Cavaliers 13-3 in that quarter. The Cavaliers narrowed the gap in the third, outscoring the Vikings 14-10. And in the fourth quarter, the Vikings were able to hang on, outscoring the Cavaliers 12-7. And Coach Teagle is making his way here, so I will let Max have a quick discussion with him.
Yeah, absolutely. This interview is going to be a little bit interesting as the Vikings come away with a big victory coming out here. Talking about a little bit of the stats, maybe how good of a game Levi McElhaney, even Tyler Cry, how his game was, and then just the Vikings compared to who they were in the season. So first of all, Coach, great game with a great game, honestly, and then with a final score of
50-37.
50-37. Excuse me, couldn't find my stat.
Oh, I can do both. So,
yeah. What can you tell me about that game?
Well, I didn't think our energy level was very good, and I don't know. We looked tired and a little fatigued late in the game when we need people come to the ball. We didn't come to it, but you'll take a victory any way you can get it. Ugly, pretty, whatever. So I did think our post guys, though, did a really good job. Levi, especially early. I thought Tyler Carr played really well in the second half. And then, Zach Nash hit a huge three when they made a run at us. And it looked like, momentum had changed. So, we gave up too many splits, too many O boards, too many shots in the paint, had too many turnovers. So we didn't play that well, but we found a way to win, which we'll take that anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. And then with Levi McElhaney and Tyler Carr with 12 points and 8 rebounds, then Levi McElhaney with 15 points, I believe, and a number of rebounds and steals and assists there. So what can you tell me about that? Was your plan to get it down to Carr and Chipchowski and McElhaney in the post?
That's always our goal. Go to the post first and try to score twos, around the rim. And then you can kick it out, and the three should be more open and get some ball reversal, some inside out. But yeah, we always want to go, and I think I've told you this before, we'd like 2/3 of our shots in the paint and 1/3 of them from three. So typically if we do that, we have a chance to be pretty successful, and then we want to do the opposite defensively, make the other team shoot 2/3 of their shots from three and 1/3 from the paint, and we didn't do very well tonight. We let them get to the paint too often. Now they do have good quickness. They got youth too. They're going to be really good the next couple years, so they're going to be a real challenge.
Yeah, of course, especially that Cowan kid. He's quick.
Yeah, very quick.
And then all I can come back to is how the Vikings were, how they started at the beginning of the season, how a little bit of patchy start, rough start, but then what they've grown into what they are today.
Well, we've improved a ton. I mean, we're not where we need to be yet. We would hope that last Friday playing at home and playing Columbia City, that would be a game that maybe we could find a way to win and sneak out. We didn't, so we're disappointed there. But we have a chance to go on the road now. It's tough at Belmont, and they're 0-3, but they've played probably the three best teams: Columbia City, Norwell, and New Haven in the conference. So, and they've played them pretty well. Their guards are outstanding. They have three guards that can shoot it, and drive it, and see the game really well, and see the floor really, really well. And they're just juniors, so we've never played great over there. It's always a tough environment for us. So we have to go over there and play a heck of a lot better defensively than we got to knock some shots in.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, Coach. Okay, so Coach Teagle wrapping this broadcast up with Max Robrock. I'm Nick Altman. Huntington North Vikings come away with a victory over the Canterbury Cavaliers tonight, winning by a baker's dozen, 50-37 at Bob Strait Court at North Arena. Any final thoughts, Max?
No, I think the Vikings played a great game, and so did the Cavs. The Cavs really surprised me tonight how they played.
And we will be back on air on Friday. Should be Drew Baker and Porter Kennedy as the Lady Vikings host the Belmont Braves here at Bob Strait Court at North Arena. An NE8 conference action. The Viking boys will be headed to Belmont over in Decatur on Saturday. Unfortunately, we will not be broadcasting or streaming that contest, as the Lady Vikings will be here at home hosting the Indianapolis Cathedral girls basketball team. So we will have coverage of that both on WVSH and on our YouTube channel at HNHS Media. So that's going to wrap things up for us tonight. Thanks for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of Vikings basketball. Again, the Vikings come away with a victory over the Canterbury Cavaliers, 50-37 for Max Robrock. I am Nick Altman, and we will talk to you later.
Thank you for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of Huntington North Vikings basketball on Viking Radio 91.9 WVSH. Before we go, we'd like to thank the following sponsors one more time for making tonight's broadcast possible.
Bailey Love Mortuary, Bippus State Bank, First Federal Savings Bank, Hartburg, Roth, Garrett, Halberstadt, and Garrett Law, Nove, and Z Place Pizza.
Be sure to tune in all season long for the fast-paced action of Vikings basketball on your Huntington North Sports Authority, Viking Radio, 91.9 WVSH. A portion of today's broadcast is brought to you by Nove. Headquartered in Markle, Nove is one of the nation's largest manufacturers of utility trailers. More information can be found online at www.novecorp.com or in person by visiting the I-69 Trailer Center near the junction of State Road 2